What would you do if you suddenly came into 1.3 billion naira or $850,000? Well, that's what happened to a Money Point employee when he sold his shares in the company. Employee stock options are very rare in Africa's tech ecosystem. It's even rarer when those shares or stocks gets converted into cash for employees. But here's how employee stock options work. The company sets aside shares for some employees, but the employees don't get it all at once. They get it over time through something called a vesting period. In Money Point's case, employees got 25% every year. At the end of 4 years, they got their complete 100% shares. When the company becomes valuable, either through an acquisition, an IPO, or share buyback, the employees can sell these shares and make money. Think of it like a reward system. When the company becomes successful, the employees get to taste a little bit of that success. Remember how I said these employee stock options have become rare? Well, that's been changing. Recently, some companies have been allowing their employees sell shares back to either the company or to investors to make money. In May, we reported on Energy, a Nigerian solar energy startup. At Energy, some employees earned thousands of dollars, a significant amount for people living in Nigeria's struggling economy. A designer made between $1,500 and $2,000. A former VP made over $2,000. And it's not just restricted to these guys. A lot more people made more money, but not as much as thousands of dollars. Energy's share sale was unusual because typically at these early stages like Series A and Series B, equity cash outs are reserved for founders, investors, or senior startup executives. But in this case, rank and file employees were able to sell their shares in the Series B round and made some money while doing that. Its CEO, Femi Adeyemo, told me that Energy's share sale was important because it showed employees that their contributions matter. The company even hired legal experts and HR experts to show employees how share sales work and how much their shares were valued for. But it's not only Energy. In October 2024, when Money Point became a unicorn, that's a company worth $1 billion, it was not only early investors or the startup executives that made money. Two early employees who had been at Money Point for 7 years and 10 years sold part of their shares. They made $20,000 and $850,000, or 1.3 billion naira, respectively. This was the second time Money Point employees were able to make money from selling shares in the company to investors. The first time this happened was back in the 2022 fundraise. Money Point is using employee stock options as a way to attract and retain talent as it continues to grow. Only employees that have been at Money Point for at least 3 years could sell shares in this round. And due to high demand, employees could not sell all their shares, but only parts. Remember the $850,000 guy? Well, that was only 1/3 of the shares in Money Point. Money Point used town hall meetings and emails to educate their employees on how to sell their shares. They even use Kata, a platform that enables people to sell shares easily. Although the shares were sold at a discount, they were not sold at the unicorn valuation. The employees were still very happy with the cash out that they made from selling their shares to investors. The fintech CEO, Tosin Olorunda, told me that the employees' share sales reflected the company's values and team-driven growth. As HR expert Emmanuel Faith put it, there is no better way to show that a company believes in you than offering you equity. So what does this mean for Africa's tech ecosystem? Since IPOs and acquisitions have remained rare, secondaries where people sell shares to investors or back to the company have emerged as a way for African startups to reward long-term employees or exceptional employees. The employees I spoke to for this story at Energy and Money Point told me that these employee share sales give them a sense of ownership in the company. They no longer see their job as just a way to get a salary, but they're heavily invested in the company's success. These moves suggest that employee stock options may slowly become a standard in Africa's tech world, giving employees a real share of the wealth that they help create.